Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight we'll spend the hour with the writer and director Quentin Tarantino. In one of the tensest scenes in any movie this year, a gangster played by John Travolta drives his boss's wife, who is near death after an overdose, to the home of a drug dealer in the middle of the night. She needs an adrenaline shot to the heart, but neither Travolta nor the drug dealer have ever administered one. The men fight about who is responsible for the OD before Travolta plunges a needle into the chest of the comatose girl. Pulp Fiction, which won the top prize at Cannes this year, is the second film written and directed by Tarantino, a self-described movie geek who spent 5 years working at a video rental store. Pulp Fiction opened the New York Film Festival in September. It stars John Travolta, Samuel Jackson, Uma Thurman, Bruce Willis, and Harvey Keitel. And we are pleased to have the director right here, Quentin Tarantino. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I was looking forward to being here.
And saying hello to my table.
Yes, exactly. The table.
The table. Everybody, when they talk about you, get this sense of a young person, a kid, early on, falling in love with movies. Tell me about that.
Well, that's totally true. I mean, the thing is that it's not as bizarre as people keep making it, or as special as people keep making it. Because, like, just remember back when you were in school and stuff, and even in elementary school, there's always, you always have kids that have like a natural inclination towards something. Yeah. All right, some kids is sports, some kids it's study, some kids is cars, some kids is drawing. There's always that kid in the back of the room always like drawing, doing sketches. And with me, it was movies. The only difference is I had kind of this like weird tunnel vision, where it's like once I got into it, I didn't have room for anything else, all right, as a kid. And it was like, and it actually even reflected in my schoolwork, You
did so well at school, but you name every character, every plot line.
Exactly.
And evaluate every movie.
I couldn't spell anything. I couldn't remember anything, all right, but I could go to a movie and I knew who starred in it, who directed it, who wrote it, who directed it, who wrote it, everything. And it was also, but it's also funny, I've had something, and I guess I still have it to this day, that stopped me in school a little bit, quite a bit actually, where it's like anything that I'm not interested in, I can't even feign interest. I can't do just this little bit to just get by. So what I would do, like in school, for instance, I loved history. Because to me, in a way, history was like watching a movie. Actually, I had the leg over all the other kids in history because I would seeing Nicholas in Alexandria, or watching movies about this or that and the other. To me, that was stories. So I was interested in stories, and I was really interested in reading. All right, so I was like getting like A's in history and in reading, and failing miserably in other things.
And when did you know then that this is what you wanted to do? You knew you loved them, but did you say,
oh, it's the only thing that
director, screenwriter, just get me in this business. I want to be there. Well,
it was funny. I didn't say director, screenwriter, because I guess I always knew movies were written, but I didn't know what a director was, Right. But actually, my parents said, well, he's going to be a director someday and everything. I didn't know what that was. I wanted to be an actor because when you're a little kid and you want to be involved in movies, people on the screen. So you say, well, I want to do what they do, and so all through my childhood. All right, I thought, I'm going to be an actor, And I wanted to be an actor. And but oddly enough, though, I remember, my mom tells stories, and I remember them, she doesn't have to remind me of them, where I would, like, see a movie, and I'd like it. And I used to play with G.I. Joes all the time. I had a whole bunch of G.I. Joes, those dolls. And I would always play movies, basically. I would just kind of, like, do my version of whatever I saw, And then I would, like, be acting out all the parts with all the G.I. Joes, and I would be, like, kind of, like, directing these little plays just for myself with the G.I. Joes. And the same thing is like, I would, and I'd see some movie because I saw all kinds of stuff, not just Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, but like all kinds of like, my mom took me to see Carnal Knowledge and The Wild Bunch and all these kind of movies when I was a kid. And so like...
Because you wanted to do it? Because she...
No, she just like, movie's a movie. There's nothing he's going to see in a movie that's going to mess him up.
Right. Exactly.
And it's like, and there are some kids that...
Is she still saying that?
Yeah. Well, today she's very happy she did that. Yes. But it's like funny though, because it's like, I would like, I would act them out like I saw in the movie. So I'd have like, they go, oh, you dirty, and your mother, and be like, Quentin, what's going on up there? It's not me, Mom. It's them. It's the G.I. Joes. It's just the dialogue from the movie.
What was your first job you got?
first job I got, actually, actually I had some really seedy jobs for a little kid, because I wanted to quit school and become an actor when I was about 16, and my mom said, okay, if you're going to quit, you've got to get a job. Now, the first two jobs I got actually totally had to do with like the porno industry, all right, you know, and I was like, I'm so not interested in porno films, I can't tell you, all right, but the first job I got was working for this guy who had a bunch of, you know, those newspaper racks with all the sex rags in it.
Right.
Well, he owned a whole bunch of newspaper racks, and what we would do is he would drive around all night long in his van, and we would just collect the quarters and put in new papers, all right? So first I did that. That was my first, like, official job, all right? My second official job was I got a job as an usher at the Pussycat movie theater, all right, in Torrance, California. All right, so I was an usher at this porno movie theater at 16, lied about my age. And the irony of all ironies is when I was growing up, I always thought, man, I mean, forget about being a director, forget about being an actor. To me, the greatest job a person could ever have would being an usher at a movie theater. You know, you get to go to a movie theater all day long, and then you get to see all the movies for free. All right, well, irony of ironies, I ended up getting a job at a movie theater that I could care less about the movies and was totally bored by it.
Yeah. And then what?
And then I kind of just went through like a bunch of little, like, you know, phone sales job and this little stupid job here and that little stupid job there, until eventually, like around age 22, I got a job at a place called Video Archives in Hermosa Beach. And
this is a famous video store.
It's the famous Video Archives. And what was funny about that job was the fact that, like, people said, oh, so that's kind of like your film school.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what they're saying then.
That's exactly what they're saying. This becomes
so there are a whole bunch of kids who want to be you are rushing to video stores to get a job.
Yeah, now I don't know if it's that much of a film school. A friend of mine, Roger Avery, who I just produced a film that he directed called Killing Zoe, he's been putting out this theory, and the press has been eating it up like it was pudding, all right, you know, and I don't think he believes in it in 2 seconds, and I don't even believe in it that much, all right. What that store was, more or less, is not a film school. It was kind of a closer equivalent would be, it was like my Village Voice. And I got to be Jay Hoberman. I got to be Andrew Saris of the store, you know, be like the little Mr. Critic, you know, at the store, putting films in people's hands and arguing my points, why this movie was good or why that movie was bad and everything. But the way I got the job was, it wasn't like I got this job and all of a sudden saw all these movies. And then just decided to, and then I became knowledgeable about them, and hey, let me make some of them. It was like I got the job because I already was a film expert, so to speak. I mean, that's why they hired me.
Because you had just studied on your own, not because you went to school. But what does your success now say? I'm a reporter, journalist. I mean, there's always this argument, people come to me, should I go to journalism school? What do you say to those people who are getting ready to go to the University of Southern California or UCLA or NYU Film School, and they look at you and there's no school there. You were, as they say, quote, self-taught. There was a passion to learn, a passion to watch, you know. It came out of you early on falling in love with film.
Well, that's the most important thing that I think.
To love the business.
You have to. You have to. You know,
there's nothing else. You don't know what you'd do if you weren't in film.
No, I never set up a situation. I never set up a fallback situation because I didn't want to fall back. You know, I wanted to have to keep eating at it. You know, and actually, that leads me to a point. Let me say this point and then get back to your question. Okay, if there's one thing that I've done that I'm like the proudest of everything, all right, is the fact that. People talk about, wow, you've had such success and it's just been so overnight and whatever. Well, whatever success I've got has come after like 8 years of just nothing working out as trying to get a job in films.
What didn't work out?
Well, it's like basically what I tried to do
and give
was...
some sense of rejection.
Well, what happened basically was I had tried to make a film, it's at around 22, 23. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to make a film.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right? And I'm going to make, you know, I had actually met a few different directors by saying I was going to write a book and wanted to interview them, all right? And so I ended up like talking to them, and they all said that they had made their first films by the time they were 30, or around 30 years old is when they made their first film. So I thought, well, okay, well, I'm going to beat that. I'm going to make my first film at the time I'm 26. And that was my thing, all right, 26. So I started making this movie. I came up with the idea for a short film that I was going to shoot. I was going to shoot it on Super 8, then I ended up getting somebody's 16mm camera. I was going to shoot it that way. And then I shot on it for like about a couple of weekends. I thought, well, hell, film's kind of cheap and everything like that. Why don't I just shoot it like a feature? And this was before She's Gotta Have It, all right? It was like after Stranger Than Paradise, but before She's Gotta Have It. And so I just started shooting it that way. And I'm like, well, I'm going to make a feature. I'm going to make a 16mm feature, black and white, and it'll be cool. So I ended up working for like 3 years on this movie.